Hello everyone, I'm Theodora and we're painting with some art supplies. So last time we did paint something that was really quick and easy, and I think most of you liked. So I was thinking today of doing another different variation of what we did, and we'll be painting some spring countryside, and I think you're gonna like it. So yeah, I'm going to use some of the new paper from the art supplies, and I've already pre-sketched a little. So yeah, I'm going to put my camera around and we can start painting. Okay. So I really find it very helpful when I start planning a little bit my paintings before I start. So, you know, I've a little bit sketched and designed where the houses are going to be, some of the trees, you know, just to have a little bit of a plan. And next, I'm going to grab this palette. It's the Sereno, and it has all this blues and greens. And since we're painting countryside, I think we need some blues and greens variations to mix from. So yeah. And I also like to, you know, work with different materials. So here I also have my jelly gouache. If you buy gouache, you need to spray them once in a while because otherwise they're going to crack. And I haven't used mine in a while, so I need to add a little bit of water to freshen them up. Anyways, so yeah. So before we start, I'm just going to also cut my paper, because my drawing isn't going to be like this big. Okay. And then we're going to stretch it. We're going to stretch our paper and start painting. So this is like a very important step, to stretch your paper before you start painting, because otherwise, if you add too many layers or too much water, the paper might, you know, buckle or bend, and yeah, we don't really want that. Okay, so I'm using a little bit of tape. I'm just going to tape it here so you can see the paper well. All right. And also it's nice because when you remove the tape, it leaves like, you know, a small frame around the paper, and it looks really, really nice. And it also, you know, helps to keep your paper in place. Okay. Okay, nice. So we did it. Okay. Okay, so we've also gathered our materials, and it's also good to have a mixing palette around. I'm also using these areas as mixing palettes. All right. So now it's time to start painting. So yeah, if you're new to watercolor, I think painting landscapes is it's very helpful. It's a nice subject to start with. It isn't stressful at all, because you don't need to be, you know, very efficient at sketching or anything. So yes, I think it'd be good to start with a landscape. So I'm mixing those two greens. This is a sap green and this is an olive green, and I really love those two greens, and I mix them together. And this is the color I get, which is a very nice natural green. Okay. And I'm going to start with some thin washes of color. And we'll, move from there, and when our thin washes, dry, then we're going to see if we need to add more values, more detail. But usually the way to start is with some thin washes. So I'm using a number 5 round brush. This is a Squirrel Mix brush from the Turner set. Okay, and it's very good for, adding layers and sometimes even adding a little detail, because it has this nice pointy tip. And yes, you can also paint small details with it as well. So it's kind of my favorite brush. Okay, so this is like our first layer here. And I'm going to use a bigger brush for my other wash. I'm using the same green basically. But, because we're covering here a bigger area, I'm like using a bigger brush. We're even going to paint some poppies here, so it won't be just green, but for the time being, yes. This is a bigger brush than we used before. Before we were using a number 5 round brush. This is an 11 round brush. So here we have like a small path. So that's why we're leaving this area blank. Okay. Nice. Okay, maybe a little bit of this green right here. Cool. And now I'm just going to mix some blues for the sky. So I was thinking, well, this is a nice color. Yeah, this is very beautiful. Okay, let's start with a layer of this. Because countrysides really have this beautiful skies. They're very blue, very, very clean. So it's a really nice blue. So now we're just doing some washes. We don't mind, if we don't cover like the whole thing. It's good to leave a little bit white. That is going, to create the impression of, depth and some clouds. And usually the skies are darker on top, and as we move down they're much lighter. So here we add a little bit more. Just going to add a hint of yellow there. Okay. Oh, hello there. Thank you for joining. How are you guys? Hope you're doing well. Okay. So usually I use my hair dryer in order for my hair layers to dry. That usually helps to speed up the process. However, I haven't brought my hair dryer here, so I'm just faintly correcting some of the shapes while I'm waiting for my layers to dry. Here we're gonna have some small windows, and here's like a patch of green. Like I said, it sort of helps to plan your drawing a little bit. Alright, so here we have some bushes, and here some small trees in the distance, and here we're gonna have some mountains up to there. Right, and here basically some tall pine trees. Good. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm still wearing the Mars bracelet. It's something sort of symbolic. It doesn't really have to do anything with the month. But yeah, I got it. I fixed this bracelet for me and my boyfriend. I also gave him one, and he's like away now. So yeah, he's still wearing it, so I'm still wearing it. Yeah, nothing specific. Okay. So maybe I'm going to do some of the wet and wet technique here. So yeah, wet and wet technique isn't really meant for, you know, fine detail. If you're painting details, it's good to do it on a dry surface, but since we're painting trees, we don't really mind. So I'm just doing some wet and wet here for the pine trees, and it creates this kind of fuzzy texture. Okay. Well, it is a Mars bracelet, but you know, it's kind of more than that for me, so that's why I'm wearing it. Yeah. For those who don't know, in Greece we wear this bracelet, and it's supposed to protect you from the weather in March. And then we usually take it off. Yeah, but I haven't. Okay, so now we're just fixing our bushes here. Okay, in the background. And here. And also I think I'm going to go grab my hair dryer because we're doing some layers here, and that really takes a while to dry. Okay, but you know, this is our first layer, so it's okay if they don't look perfect. Just, you know, sometimes you need to trust the process a little bit. Okay, just, yeah, trust the process. Nice. Some more bushes here. Okay, so now you see the basic outline of what we're painting. Here are our houses. I'm just going to grab my hairdryer real quick. So why don't you guys tell me what is your favorite subject? To start with a landscape and not with a portrait, for instance. I think you are going to find it much relaxing. Okay, so I grabbed the hairdryer, just a regular hairdryer. Sorry about the noise. Dry, and we're going back with our next layers. So yes, you can use a hairdryer to speed up the process, but you should also be careful, because if you have too much water on your paper, if you use a hairdryer, it will just move it around and it's going to ruin your work. So yes, have that in mind. Okay, now we're just adding some red at the roofs of the house here. This is like a big establishment. Okay, nice. And soon you will be able to tell that this is a house. So there is another patch of grass that we missed before. Okay. Nice. Okay, yeah, sometimes when I use a hairdryer, I'm afraid that the noise is too loud. Yeah, so now I'm just taking a little bit of gray color, and I'm just going with my ringer brush And I'm going to do the outlines of the house. Here are like some small windows. Okay, another small window. A small door. Okay. So yes, it's very easy when you use a ringer brush to paint straight, thin lines. And you can do like all sort of things, like, you know, painting flyweight hairs, eyelashes, some branches, lots of things. Okay. Hello Joe, how are you? Thanks for joining. Okay. So now we have our basic shapes here. Here we're going to have some flowers, but we're going to add them last. Okay. So here are like our pine trees. And we fix like our shapes here, our bruises. So here we don't really work on details so much, we just want to give the impression from afar. Okay. So I'm just letting some of my underpainting to sew. We don't cover everything up with our next layers, and that helps us create some texture. Okay. So we're working on the rest of the pine trees. And like I said, it's good to let some of our underpainting to sew. That helps, you know, create some texture and some highlights. So it's a good thing. So basically, you know, when you're painting, you need to be a little patient because you won't get the results you want like instantly. You need to work like each area of the painting patiently, a layer at a time. And like I said before, you need to trust some process. Okay. And it's nice when you are painting nature that, you know, you can be outside like in the park and you can paint what we see, or we can paint from a reference, but both are really fun processes to do. Just adding some texture now. So yeah, for the most part, I've been using a round brush. Okay. So I'm mixing again my two favorite greens right here. And adding some detail to the ground, to the grass. This is a very nice green shade for the grass. Okay, let's switch brushes again. Actually, I think I'm gonna go for my cat's tongue brush. And do some of these separate fibers technique. So basically separate the fibers of the brush. And here we're going to have some puppies. And you can also use it vertically for some washes. And we also give a little bit of texture. Let's use our hair dryer. Going to take my my angled brush. Just going to mix a right shade of blue. It doesn't really blend with the sky that much because this is going to be our mountain. And I'm using an angled brush for that. It has a small angle there. It isn't flat completely. It's from the Fine Line Miniature set. And it allows me to paint some washes, but also with a small tip it has there, I can also paint a little bit of detail. All right. So this is kind of a purplish blue. It doesn't really blend that much with our sky. stands out a little, and that's what we want. Okay. Nice, cool. Okay, let's use our hair dryer once more. Some small details left. All right, let's use a little bit of our light gray to give some depth to our house. There, you know, under the roof, small shadows, and right here and here. You know, that is going to help us give a little bit of depth, you know, that the house isn't completely flat. Okay, and a little bit to our roof as well. So I'm using like a burnt sienna to add some detail here, and that is going to give, you know, the impression that the roof is like made from some bricks. All right. So now, you know, we've worked on our general image, we've put in some of the colors, and now we're just working on the details. And really the details are really the ones that make all the difference. So now we're going to correct, like I said, and add details. Some texture. So this bushes and trees are far, so we're adding some painter's gray to make them a little bit darker because they're in the distance. All right. And also, let's add our flowers. So I'm just going to grab my miniature brush, the ringer one. And here we're gonna have some poppies. here and there. Okay. Just gonna grab my angled brush again. So I'm just using a white brush to paint the poppies. And some of them I put a little bit of black at the center, just to create the impression that you're like open. Okay. So you know, it's really simple. Okay. Also adding a little bit of yellow ochre to some of these trees, just to give them a little bit of variation of color. And maybe I'm just going to use my capstone brush just to add a little bit more depth here. And the distance. All right. So I think that was it for today. I hope you liked it, and thank you very much for watching. Goodbye, guys.